Well, hello everyone and welcome to another episode here on the MIgardener channel. I am very excited to be answering this question that I get almost on a daily basis for my indoor garden, and that is, Luke, can you show us how to start seeds? And yes, I would love to. See, I love the interaction that we get on these videos. So if there's ever a question you have, like so let's say at the end of this video I don't answer your question, post it in the comments box below, and I'd be glad to do a video on it. If enough people do it, or if enough people ask for it, there's got to be a reason to make a video. And if one person asks and I'm kind of coming near something that I can film, like today, you know, it was a great time because I'm starting my second hydroponic setup, and I thought, you know, there'd been a couple people, a couple hundred people asking me to do a seed starting video, so I thought, you know, hey, I might as well, right? So I'm gonna kill two birds with one stone. So what we're gonna need here is pretty simple. We have some soilless potting or soilless grow medium. You don't want to use a potting mix. That's what I was going to say. You don't want to use a potting mix. You don't want to use a compost. You don't want to use worm castings. You don't. Big red X, get away from it. I get asked that all the time. And the reason why you don't want it is because it's organic. And normally organic is great, you know. Oh yeah, organic, I love organic. But when you're growing indoors, you have to get that idea out. Number one, the hydroponic solution, everything but organic. The mixture here, not organic. The reason is because organic actually tends to break down. It basically houses bacteria and fungi and all the stuff that naturally occurs. And this is not really a natural setup. It's a great, cool setup, but not for organics. And that's just because if you allow something organic to come in the house, there's not those natural predators to keep things in check. There's no food chain. So if you have fungus gnats that come in and you're growing in compost, they're gonna say, whoa, this is a great place. You know, we don't have any predators. Let's go crazy. And then you're gonna have 4 billion fungus gnats running rampant, and it's gonna ruin your root systems. And then also you have the problem with just soil-borne funguses and bacterias that when it's in the water all the time, you're never gonna have a chance to really have a dry out period. And that's going to cause root rot like crazy because those funguses will come alive, they'll stay wet all the time, and they'll go, hey, you know, this is a great place to reproduce, just like the fungus gnats, and you will have a dead plant in a matter of weeks, so if not days. So it's just not a good idea. So what we're using is rock wool cubes. It's not actually wool like sheep's wool. So what it is basically it's rock that has been melted down and it's spun into almost like an insulation, like a what am I trying to say? The fiberglass. It's almost like a fiberglass insulation, except for the fact that it's not as harmful. It's just a rock that's been spun, and it's kind of got the texture of wool and whatnot, but it's very absorbent, and so it makes a really great growing medium. Now the next thing we're gonna need is a holeless seed tray. Some have holes. You don't want the ones with holes because you want it to hold water. This is a hydroponic system, so you want it to have just a little bit of water in the bottom. This one even has kind of some bays where water can set and not be kind of stagnant, and that's going to allow high humidity so that the plants can sprout faster, because higher humidity equals happier plants. And then once they sprout, you can take off the humidity dome, which is the next component that I just forgot actually, and that's the humidity dome. The humidity dome basically goes on top and creates a humid environment to help sprouting. Next thing you're going to want is a heat mat. Now this heat mat came with a pretty cool setup here. I just got this heat mat from a hydroponic store, and you can get it from Lowe's, Home Depot, Meijer, Menards, you name it, big box store, they have it. Walmart probably has it, I would imagine. You know, given the time of year, they're starting to get ready for spring. They might not have it yet. So you might have to go to a hydroponic store if you don't have it already, because some big box stores aren't quite cut out for keeping this kind of stuff around year-round. It's just not in their business plan. So you might have a hard time finding it, but you can also get them online too, no problem. They're very cheap. This just is a heat mat that when you plug it in, you just plug it right into the wall there, and it has a heat coil that runs through. It keeps it at about 75 degrees minimum. I find that if you leave it on for a while, it'll get up to 80 degrees. That is perfect for starting seeds, and you're going to want that as well because warmer temperatures are great. So the next thing we're going to have here is our seeds. Now your seeds, you can use whatever you want, really. I'm trying some different unique things that I think could probably work, but they're nothing that's long and vining. You know, no pumpkins, obviously. Pumpkins are pretty difficult. I've seen some people do it, but you know, nothing that I would really feel confident in doing. And then obviously, you know, you don't want stuff like squashes and zucchinis and stuff like that. So I'm doing just small stuff that's very fast maturing, fast turnaround stuff, like the one that's already established. I have arugula, I have basil, I have arugula, I have lettuce, I have kale, and stuff like that. And then today I'm going to be starting most of my herbs. So I'm going to have some upland cress. I have some basil here. I have a sweet basil. I have a Thai basil. This is a Genovese basil. I have a cilantro, and I also have a Thai basil. I have a purple auric, and that's just basically kind of like a spinach variety. I just wanted to try that one and see how it worked. And then I also have a jewel mix nasturtium. Now this one's gonna be really, really interesting, and I'll definitely let you guys know how this one works. Because I wanted to try nasturtiums because they're in the cress family, they're in the watercress family, and they're just a very delicious green that it's so hard to get fresh. I mean, if you get them at the store, they look horrible if they have them at the store, and they're super expensive. Like we're talking for 5-6 flowers, because you actually want the nasturtium flower. That's the beautiful salad topper, and it's like $4 for like 5-6 flowers, and it's like, no way, no, I'm not spending that much. So it's a summertime green for us. So if we can get it here in the wintertime, the more the better. And actually nasturtiums have been found to be cancer fighting because of their peppery property. You should look up some of that kind of stuff, because if you're a juicer or you like making smoothies, this is a great addition. Every part of the nasturtium is edible. So for us, it's a very beneficial green, and we really like it. So we're gonna try to grow some here. That'll be fun. So let's get started here. Come on in close, and let's get this thing up and running. All right, so what I'm going to be doing is just taking half of these. I don't need all 50, and these come in a pack of 50, so I'm going to save the other 50 for another time. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to wet these down. You don't want to saturate them like, you don't want to saturate them like a sponge that's just been squeezed and then absorbed into a 5-gallon bucket of water. You know what I mean? You don't want it sopping, dripping wet. It's going to lead to the seeds rotting because, as we talked about earlier, the seeds are organic, or they're organic material. So it's going to rot because there are, in fact, mold spores in the air at all times. So it's going to have the same effect, on the seeds as they're sprouting. So you just want to make sure that you have stuff that can sprout relatively quickly as well. And that's going to go with the seeds. The seed thing that I was talking about is you don't want a seed that's going to take 2 weeks to sprout. It's going to be rotted probably because it's wet the whole time. So it's just a good idea to have stuff that sprouts, typically within 2 to 7 days, maybe 2 to 6 days. Most of my stuff I typically get sprouted within 3 to 4 days, so we should be good there. So now what we're going to do is we're just going to wet this down. Now what you want to do for your hydroponics starting, you want to make sure that you just start with a pH balanced, just basically a pH of 7. That's regular, purified city water. It can be chlorinated. Don't worry about it. You just don't want like well water, because well water can have lime in it, and lime is a very high pH. It's very alkaline. And so, especially, and sometimes it can even be salty. And salty water is even worse than alkaline water because it'll kill it completely. Salt and plants don't mix. It will burst the cells of the plants, kill them instantly. So you don't want that either. Well, not instantly, but you get what I'm saying. It's not good. So I'm just wetting these down here, and there's little holes that are already not really pre-drilled, but they're pre-marked holes, and you just want to evenly soak your brick of rock wool. It does take a lot of water to make it even slightly damp, so we're going to put that back in there, and then we're just going to put our seeds in. We're going to put about 3 to 5 seeds in here each, just because of the fact that when you're going with hydroponics, you don't want to put one seed in, because of the fact that if nothing sprouts, it's kind of a waste of rock wool. And so I like to put 2 to 3 seeds, sometimes 4 even, and then I just thin them out. It's a little bit of a waste of seed, whereas in traditional gardening method, you can thin them out and stuff and move them around. This one, once they're growing in this little hole here, you just got to trim them out, and they'll do fine. They'll do totally fine, being all crammed in that little hole there. So it'll be interesting. I'm going to try the nasturtiums here, and it's really simple. You just take your seed. It's a little bit bigger than the hole they've made, but I'll just stick it in there, and then we'll work with it later. And all I'm going to do is just put them in this empty bed for now, and then once we start seeing sprouts, I can move it elsewhere, but it's a great place for it. Heat is on, and now all I'll do is just turn on the lights on their frequent schedule, and that will basically ensure that as soon as there are sprouts, they will be seeing light, because that's the very last crucial part. You want to watch these, because if you let them get even 8 hours, let's say you fall asleep and you forget to look at your sprouts, and you don't put them underneath your lights, they're going to get very, very laggy. That period at which they sprout is so crucial. They sprout better in the darkness, which is why they're inside the rock wool cubes. And then once they are sprouted, they need to be under that light, because as soon as they sprout, they've used all of that energy that was in the seed, stored in that seed, to sprout. And then all they need to do is stretch their leaves out and absorb some of that light. If there's no light for them to absorb, they don't have any energy, and they basically go searching for it. And that's where it just gets crazy, and they get all lanky and long, and it can actually stunt and inhibit the growth. So you really want to put them somewhere where you're going to be able to turn on those lights as soon as you start seeing them start to sprout, and they'll be fine. So they're going to be here for now. That's a great place for them. I got the heat turned on, and we're all set. So that is grow table number 2. We got herbs and some specialty greens in this one. It's going to be a pretty good experiment for what stuff grows well and what stuff doesn't. So I'm very excited. And also I'm going to be saving at least 1 or 2 holes. I'm going to be doing some even more experimental in this bed here. We're going to be trying a miniature cucumber. So I'm very excited for that as well. I got some seeds coming on the way for some Bushmaster 80 cucumbers. It's a unique variety of cucumber that is only about 18 to 24 inch long vines, and it produces 7-8 inch long cucumbers. So it's gonna be pretty cool. So I'm very excited about that as well. So there you go. I know, not hard at all. Hopefully I didn't make it seem hard. At least I think it's very simple. I used to overcomplicate it, and now I'm wondering why I did. It's very simple, and for all those people that have been messaging me, asking me if I can show this, hopefully this helped. Also, I hope if you've been watching this series of hydroponics, you've been inspired, if you haven't been doing them already, to start some. There's been so many people that have been posting pictures and sending emails and really just getting around me for this hydroponic experience, because it's something that I've always wanted to try, and I was kind of apprehensive, and as soon as they started seeing me do it, they welcomed the experience with open arms, and I appreciate that as well, because it's a learning experience for me as well. So everything that I'm doing has been learned from someone else, and that's the beauty of this stuff. So hopefully some of the information has rubbed off on you today. and I will catch you all later. This is Luke from MIgardener, hoping you all are growing big or going home. Hopefully you're having a great day, and hopefully you're staying warm wherever you are. I'll catch you all later. See ya. Bye.